Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a while on this channel, hasn't it? Like the title suggests, I will be going through my top 10 favorite wrestlers, if we're going to WWE terms, superstars of the year. I'm planning on doing this every year, and the whole point of this is just to see how my opinions change over the years, because I feel like it will. Every year is different, every superstar changes, and most of the time, superstars end up getting better or worse. Before I start going on the top 10, though, I will have to preface it with this. I have been watching a lot more AEW than WWE recently, and no, it's not because I favor AEW more than WWE. In fact, I hate with a burning passion all those Cheeto eating lonely marks who stand over one company than the other. That's not me. I only watch AEW more because I personally think the AEW product is a little bit better than WWE recently. But also, I realize not every AEW show is exactly all that good either. To put it simply, I have just been more into AEW lately, but I don't have a strong bias against WWE. The only reason I'm saying this, though, is because yes, even though I try not to, it probably will still have a bias on this list. And also, I will only be doing this with the men's because of that exact reason. Because I feel like I haven't watched enough WWE recently to really truly accurately rank the women's talent. So, with that out of the way, let's get into it. Number 10, Christian. I'm going to be honest, I haven't been the biggest fan of Christian's run in AEW so far. I'm glad he got an AEW title shot, but to be honest, I don't really think he needed it. I think some other actual good storylines with Christian would have been actually a little bit better because, he didn't win the AEW title. It was just sort of another guy Kenny Omega got to fight and win against. So I think Christian having some actually good storylines would have been better, but with that being said, I do really like that Christian is at a retirement and in AEW. Christian has always been one of my favorites, and honestly, I used to like him a little bit better than Edge. Nowadays, Christian can still put on some banger matches, but I just wish AEW would do some other things with him instead of him just being a third man in Jurassic Express. Christian is still one of the favorites of mine, though, and as of why I still think he deserves a spot on this list. Number 9, Darby Allin. Darby Allin is truly one of the four pillows of AEW. After watching a lot of Darby's matches, I can truly say he's one of the most talented small guys in wrestling today. His wrestling style is one of the most believable I've seen since he literally uses his whole body as a weapon and makes everything seem like he doesn't care what happens to himself. Now, Darby's mic skills aren't necessarily the best, but he is still believable in his delivery. And I don't really think his mic skills matter in Darby's case. His partnership with Sting is also really fitting, and I think it's a good way to give Sting an extra run in the tank. Number 8, Eddie Kingston. Man, oh man, if there's one thing I have learned about AEW from watching it more, is that this man can cut a nasty promo when given light to. I've literally seen this man cut a promo on a cookie on YouTube and it'd still be better than any of the shitty scripts WWE's been putting out. Search it up. I've seen interviews with Eddie, and the one thing I've learned is that he's as authentic out of the ring as in the ring. Maybe not totally when he's a heel, but he seems just as kick ass out of the ring. In ring, Eddie's also really good, but kind of has a bit of a different style than usual. Eddie wrestles more like he's in a street fight, and I actually really like it. Overall, Eddie's great, man. Number 7, Sami Zayn. Man, oh man, why is Sammy number 7? Sammy used to be my favorite. Why did they turn him heel? Why? Nah, I'm joking. Sammy used to be my favorite of all time, but he never dropped because he's a heel. In fact, I kind of like what they're doing with Sammy right now. The only reason he's not my favorite anymore is because I personally think others are just a little better than Sammy. That's all. I wasn't really looking into anybody else's stuff when Sammy was my number one favorite, and I kind of was just like, Sammy's my favorite, and I'm not changing my mind. Anyway, yes, Sammy is still up there, though, just not in my top 3 anymore. Sami Zayn is a true talent, though, on the microphone, in the ring, and Sammy is one of the only men who can turn a conspiracy gimmick into one of the most entertaining things on the show. Now, while I think he's an amazing heel, I still believe he can also still be a brilliant babyface. I think the only reason why he wasn't all that entertained as a babyface was because of WWE's crappy stuff they gave him. The only thing about Sammy in WWE right now is that he's probably not going to get any titles in the foreseeable future, which sucks. I would love to see Sammy be a champion. Maybe not the world champ, but to see Sammy have a long mid card title reign like the Mrs. IC reign in 2016 would be amazing. Number 6, Bobby Lashley. I am so glad WWE finally decided to pull the trigger on this man this year because he is a beast. And where he was in 2018 and 19 was not where he deserved to be. I certainly wish this man stayed WWE champion a little bit longer, considering they gave the title to Big E only for him to lose to Brock after only having it for 3 months. And Jesus Christ, man, what's WWE's obsession with making every New Day member lose the world title to Brock? Xavier, my man, I think you're next. But Bobby Lashley seriously is a great monster heel, and with MVP on his side, kind of like Paul DeBrock, Bobby is bound to more amazing things. Number 5, Edge. So far, Edge's return run has been amazing. He's put on zingers with the likes of Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Daniel, and Seth, and of course the last 3 being this year. I will be honest, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of his recent feud with The Miz, but it's not the worst thing ever. Edge Truth this year, I think, has one of the best years of his career, and in turn, it made him one of my favorites. I honestly wish this man would win a main title, though. But right now, with Brock and Roman as champs, I definitely don't recommend they rush it. Number 4, Roman Reigns. After being arguably one of the most hated wrestlers in the world a couple years ago, this man showed us in 2021 that he is one of the best, and to think all WWE had to do was to turn him heel. Roman Reigns is great on the microphone, great in the ring, and helps make at least one of the WWE titles actually prestigious. In my opinion, Roman is one of the few people in the WWE right now that carry the show on his shoulders. In fact, the only thing that I would hope they do with Roman right now is just make his faction bigger. But overall, Roman's been great the past year. Number 3, CM Punk. Arguably one of the best wrestling returns in history. Do I even need to explain why he's in my top 3? He was then, now, and forever the best in the world. See what I did there. I still find it unbelievable that in 2021 that this man has returned after 7 years away from the squared circle. But a return alone doesn't put him in my top 3. After returning, CM Punk has put on great matches and has well shown that he can still tear it up on the microphone. When Punk said he was coming back to help level up new stars, he wasn't joking either, since a lot of his matches helped raise his opponent's popularity level in the process. Like every new top star signing in AEW, you can tell he's having a lot of fun and loves pro wrestling again. And honestly, I can't wait until this man goes against MJF. Number 2, Bryan Danielson. Man, I find it so surprising how different Bryan is in AEW compared to WWE. Now, hold on a second, okay? I'm not trying to hate on his WWE stuff because I also think it's great. His matches with Edge and Roman Reigns were absolutely amazing. But you cannot deny that he's a little more free in AEW. Right now, Bryan is a heel again, and it's wonderful. It reminds me of the Planet Warrior of a couple years ago, and you can tell when you watch a Bryan match in AEW, he is so ahead of everyone there wrestling wise. Bryan can literally elevate anyone he's in the ring with, and it's a testament of how experienced and talented he is. If you don't believe me, which I don't know why you wouldn't, he recently put on an hour-long instant classic with Hangman at Winter Is Coming. If you can watch any of his recent matches, I would definitely recommend you do. His wrestling ability alone has made me put him at the number 2 spot and made him one of my favorites right now. Number 1, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. He is better than you, and you know it. If there is one thing I'm confident about, is that that statement is true. I feel as if MJF is a step above every rising star right now, in my opinion. He put on one of the best matches of the year recently with Darby Allin, and he collaborated with Punk to probably have the best promo of the year. Maybe the best promo of all time. I had heard great things about him before I started watching him, but I never really thought he was that good. He's by far the most convincing heel in the business right now, and somehow doesn't break kayfabe no matter what he does. This man is the whole package, and I believe him when he says he's going to be the hottest free agent when his AEW contract runs out in 2024. Like I already said, though, I think he's one of the best right now. And if I do this again next year, I'd really be surprised if he's to come off this list or even move down a spot. With all that being said, though, guys, that is my list for my favorite wrestlers out of the entirety of 2021. I will be doing this around the same time next year, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.